Christian, welcome back. We first spoke when Bitcoin was 24,000. And since then, it's done extremely well, right? So we were deep in the crypto winter. It's come up. Now prices are starting to correct and really freak people out, almost like we have PTSD from the crypto winter. First question, what do you think is next? Are we entering another prolonged, desperate crypto winter for the next few months or years? Or do you think this is a quick sell-off? What do you think is next?
Hi, Elliot. Happy to be back. I don't think so. I mean, Bitcoin is at 66K or 67K. That's really high for me. I mean, it's near the 2021 all-time high. So I'm not freaked out at all. I mean, I see much more upside for this bull market, maybe Bitcoin to 100K or 150K, of course, personal opinion. If you look at the chart, we've basically been consolidating since February. So Bitcoin has moved between 55K and 72K for like the last 4 months. And every time we hit the 70K mark, everybody's we're going to the moon. 100K is coming. And then when we go to 60K, everybody's like, the next bear market will start soon. And we've seen the top. So I'm unfazed.
Right. And every now and then you see those headlines like whale that hasn't moved for 5 or 10 years moves 5,000 Bitcoin onto Kraken. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh gosh, they're about to dump like the big whales. Like you can't, that's the hard part about crypto, right? Just the big whales just dumping on people, right? That's what they try to do. Isn't that the whole mission at this stage in the game? Like we stockpile and hoard as many tokens as possible, wait for the bull run, then dump and cash out. Isn't that what the big players are really doing at a certain level?
I would say if you held Bitcoin for 10 years, congratulations, right?
Right.
Because I probably would have sold before that. Probably haven't wouldn't have waited for like a 100x or 200x. Some of these people sometimes I think they're just getting out of prison and then they immediately dump their tokens, right? Because sometimes I don't understand where this is coming from, right? Why would you hold your tokens or your coins for 10 years and then suddenly dump them? Uh, or they're
Yeah,
all waking up from a coma. I don't know.
right.
But
Okay, so you don't think it's driven by them knowing anything? Because like
no,
I've
I
seen,
don't think so.
okay, I've seen a lot of those headlines with Ethereum whales. Like as soon as all the ETF headlines started coming out, I feel like Ethereum whales woke up and started getting ready to
I,
sell it. And
I would
obviously,
say,
yeah,
yeah, the only noteworthy Ethereum whale is the Ethereum Foundation because they sold both the 2017 top and the 2021 top. So
wow.
both times when they sold a massive amount, then that was the top. I recently read that they sold, but I think they sold smaller amounts. I'm not sure about that, but yeah,
I wonder how
watch
the
out for the Ethereum Foundation.
that's just such an important point that very few people understand about crypto, right? Which is the what's going on behind the scenes, which is people the big whales can't sell until they get a bunch of liquidity from the small
Yeah,
fish.
yeah, sure.
And then that's their opportunity to finally cash out. So it's not like this stuff just will go up forever,
Sure.
right?
We've also seen all these people that were trapped in grayscale that wanted to sell for years, probably. Also,
Yeah,
that was the FTX also had many shares in GBTC and also another platform that I forgot.
right.
Um, but yeah, and they all use the influx of liquidity with the ETFs to sell. So
Right, exactly.
yeah.
So that's really important. But then the long-term picture is
Hmm.
this stuff skyrockets over time, over years, right? Like Ethereum. Yeah, it was bad. There was whale manipulation, but what if you just held it for the last 10 years?
Yeah, I would say there are very few coins that actually go up over time, whereas there are many coins that are like a one-time pump and dump
Hmm.
in the space. So if you look at Bitcoin, sure, it has gone up over time. Ethereum also, Binance Coin,
Yep.
few others maybe that I'm not aware of. So many coins are also only around for three years, 4 years. It's hard to say if they're going up over time because the sample size is just so small. But I would say for these for Ethereum, Bitcoin, and BNB, that's definitely true because they have been around for a long time. What I saw in the past in 2017, also 2021, there were many coins that had like a one-time hype and then maybe a little pump in a later bull market and then gradually traded sideways for many years then.
Right. Exactly. That is very true. That's why it's so important to find quality for the long
Yeah, yeah,
term.
yeah.
So what is your definition of quality?
First of all, the team, right? So I think the team is the most important. And then you need a product market fit, right? If you have a product that's actually useful, that that people want to use, not because they hold the token and want to demonstrate that you can use the token for something, but there is actually a product that gives you benefit. Like for example, Binance is a good example because they have an exchange people use. They don't care if they hold Binance coin or they don't, but the exchange is useful, right? Or the Ethereum network is useful, even if you don't have significant quantities of Ethereum, because you can use it for something.
Right.
You can transact, right? That's very important,
Right.
and people are using it. So you need some kind of utility for the token, or at least a good product where the token can be used. And then you need good tokenomics, right? If you have like a good product, you can use the token for something, but you have so much inflation that constantly new tokens are released, then you won't make much money because the market is constantly flooded with new tokens, and it will be really difficult for the price to increase, right? Because all the demand, all the new supply sucks up the demand that is there. What I'm looking for is, in best case, a deflationary scenario, but you don't get that often. So I'm looking for not as much inflation as some of these protocols have, and a low market cap. Because if you're buying something that is already 20 billion market cap, I mean, the upside is very limited, right?
It is. Yeah. It's hard. I mean, there's exceptions to all these rules, I think, right? But overall, I think you're 100% correct.
Yeah, just my rules, right? I have
No,
always
but
been more attracted to small caps than to the big caps. That's just the way I operate.
yeah, and that's because they massively outperform generally. But
Yeah.
I will say in the most recent pump, like Solana, $10 to 170, you
Hmm.
know, like Chili Chainlink from $7 to 20. So, but you're right, it wasn't as fast as like the smaller cap stuff. That's
Yeah, I
true.
mean these are the successful examples, right? There were also like Cardano hasn't really moved, I think,
Yeah.
or other stuff. Like if you, I don't know, I don't know the charts, but probably the dinosaur coins like Litecoin or Bitcoin Cash, they probably haven't moved at all. Maybe made a new all-time low. And yeah, you have to look for quality stuff. And if talking about Solana, I mean, Solana was like really hated
Yeah.
uh, 1 year ago because of all the FTX drama and their involvement with Solana.
Mhm.
And then suddenly it rises out of the ashes. Remarkable story.
It is. And what else is it really interesting now is I think the digital world is kind of just a copy of the physical world. And over
Mm.
time, it's just going to like kind of replicate it. And we're going to have this metaverse type matrix world that's really important, the digital world. But the issue with that is there's a whole bunch of junk in it. Just like in the physical world, there's a whole bunch of trash, right? Like just like
Yeah.
landfills. So in the digital world, now we have Pump.Fun. I don't know if you've heard of that. Have you?
Can you explain it to me?
Yeah, sure. Pump.Fun is on Solana, and you could go there right now and create a meme token just by clicking a few buttons.
Oh, okay, okay.
And so now there's hundreds of thousands of meme tokens on Solana, like hundreds of thousands of them.
Yeah.
So times are changing where like your average meme token might not do as well, right? It's getting later stage, it seems.
Yeah, I think they probably how many meme tokens do they launch per hour? Probably 1,000.
Yeah, yeah. Like if you go to the website, it's just like boom, 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 boom. Like you can see
Oh, okay, okay, I
all the ones
see.
that are created. It's boom, boom, boom. They're all
Hmm.
created. Why wouldn't they be? It's too easy.
Yeah, probably 99% are just have drained liquidity after an hour or so.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, yeah, I would guess so. We already had that in the last bull market when, but in Ethereum, it's really expensive to create a token because of the gas fees. So there
Right,
weren't as many scams.
right,
Sure, if it's only $5 to create a token, then
right.
there will be more scams when in Ethereum it was like 400, 500 or so.
Yeah, that's where we're heading though. So the
Yeah.
space is just getting more scalable. Just like remember it took a while to download songs like on LimeWire or whatever. It, it it took forever to download songs, but now it takes a second, right?
Sure, sure.
It's interesting. The whole space is just going to get saturated with tokens. Like we could be at millions of tokens in the next few years.
Yeah. Um, Probably, the question is there are millions of tokens. How many of them have some kind of liquidity? At least a few thousand or a few 10,000 in liquidity. Probably 10,000 tokens,
Right, right.
maybe. And I don't see that number increasing so rapidly because there's just only so much money to be in these liquidity pools that I think the number of tokens that are actually long term and have liquidity, the number won't go up as quickly. But
Right.
the tokens that are basically worthless, that amount will increase massively, right? Because of all these meme tokens that are created.
That makes sense. So like
Yeah,
the tail of dead ghost tokens is just going to become huge, but then there's
yeah,
probably
yeah.
like 10K that somehow survive.
Yeah, I have so many dead tokens in my portfolio, all the dust,
Yeah.
from the years.
Did they do well in the recent bull run in 2024?
No, no, this is just tokens that just were completely where the team said, okay, we're gone, and
Oh,
that's it. So
okay.
yeah, those
Okay,
don't come back from the dead.
got it. Got it. Got it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes. But yeah, so that's like the garbage end of the crypto world.
yeah,
Then
yeah,
then we
sure.
have the higher quality mid cap stuff. I've seen you talk about ICP on your Twitter. Why
Mhm.
why does that one interest you?
So I have basically I studied information systems, right, at university, and I had a friend that was really really interested in Bitcoin early on, like 2012 or so. And he was like, "Oh my God, Bitcoin!" Talking all the time about Bitcoin, and I didn't listen, right?
Right.
And then he talked about Ethereum all the time in 2015, and I didn't listen as well. And then he started talking about Definity in 2018, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm buying Definity."
Uh,
But then the problem was that, contrary to Bitcoin and Ethereum, ICP launched at the peak of the 2021 bull market, launched at like a 50 billion market cap or so.
right.
And when I saw that, I was like, okay, I'm not going to buy this at a 50 billion market cap because that's ridiculous. I'm going to wait until it goes near $1 billion market cap. And then I waited and waited for 1 year. And then I bought a few times. I think the first time I bought was when it was trading at 20. And then I bought another time at 10. And then when it reached 5 USD, I also bought another time. So
Okay.
then I basically dollar cost average down. And then I had like a nice bag, and I thought it was like a fundamentally good project. And now I've been holding it for like years. Basically, they've what I like about it is that it's not like a copycat layer one of Ethereum. So there are all these layer ones that are just Ethereum light,
Right.
right?
Right.
Or they are layer twos on Ethereum, or they're not really innovating. For
Right.
example, Binance Smart Chain, it's not innovative. It's basically a blockchain that's very similar to Ethereum, where you can transact uh, in a cheap way.
Right.
Um, but ICP, I'm I'm not in the technicals of I don't know much about the technicals, but at least they've done stuff that is completely different from everybody else. It seems like.
Oh, they have. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, because now I think it can scale so much to the point where you can put an entire website, pictures,
Yeah.
messages all on chain and it scales. You can't do that with Ethereum. You can do like one little transaction with Ethereum, but everything else is done on Amazon web servers or something.
Yeah.
Will it be adopted is the only question, right?
Yeah, 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 sure.
But it seems to be. I mean, it's also a Bitcoin layer too.
Bitcoin layer two. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw some action on Bitcoin, like with these ordinals and runes and stuff, but I'm not an expert on that. So yeah.
Right. No. Okay. So that's why you hold it. Does your friend still like it?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I mean, he liked it all the time. He's
Okay.
not that much into investing. He's just very interested in the tech.
Oh, okay.
Very yeah, and
Got
he always praised it, and I was like, okay, well, I'm buying it. Disappointingly, I'm just in for the pump, and when it goes up, I'm selling. But yeah,
Okay,
that's what
got
I'm
it.
doing.
So you know the space very well inside and out. Like you know the very bad parts, you know the good parts. You live in the micro cap world. So and you see just the ridiculousness of it, right? What the teams are doing, the pump and dumps, all that. So question for you is where do you see this in like 10 years? Do you still see it being like a crazy casino, or do you see it being more widely adopted, taken more seriously?
Uh, it's a tough question because I mean I've been in crypto now for 7 years, and the space has changed so much, right? Because in the beginning it was very experimental, and then it became more serious over time. So I mean I see your point. The space will surely mature with all these huge institutions coming in and all these well-funded players, right? So, uh, 7 years ago, if you would have asked me, will Bitcoin be around in the long run, I would have said maybe. I don't know. But right now, it seems impossible that Bitcoin is not around in 10 years. So,
Right.
and also Ethereum, right? It seems this stuff is really here to stay with all the infrastructure that is being built.
Right.
Will every single token be around? No, absolutely not. Because if you, what I like to do is I like to look at the coin market cap top 100 and then, go back 1 year, go back 2 years, go back 3 years and see how much it changed. And I think every single year we get new tokens in the top 100, and some are disappearing and they're never coming back. So yeah, and if you for example look at the CoinMarket top 100 in 2018 and compare it to now, probably there are 20 tokens still in there, and 80 are gone. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's scary though. It's scary because you don't know which ones are going to survive unless you do your research. So again, you don't invest in the top 100 very much though, do you?
Uh, Sometimes I may hold stuff that I bought outside of the top 100 that is then in the top 100. Like a good example is, for example, Chili's. I bought Chili's when it was trading below a cent, and then it went into the top 100. And yeah, I've just been holding it. I mean, obviously, I'm also very active in the Chili's ecosystem.
Right.
I also bought BNB a couple of years ago. I think in 2019, I bought like a good position of BNB. That was already a top market cap back then, but I thought, okay, there is still potential for it to go up. And of course, I'm holding Bitcoin, Ethereum, but yeah, I'm not, you know, I'm not looking at the top 100 as like that there are huge investment opportunities. Let's put it like that.
Right. No, exactly. So I just pulled up Chili's chart and
Hmm.
it just seems like the perfect buy zone for altcoin. I mean, obviously the worse the chart looks, the more buyable it is. I think you agree with that. Like the lower it is, the more of an opportunity there is. So do you see a huge opportunity for like do you think there will be another alt season that makes these things like just go up like crazy in the next year or so?
Yeah, I would say that. So basically, the definition of an alt season is when Bitcoin dominance goes down, right? So the
Right.
the the market share of Bitcoin on the overall market cap of crypto goes down, and I definitely see that happening. Well, it happened every single time in the past. So it happened in 2017, 2021. Also, we had many different time spans in between where Bitcoin dominance decreased. And what I think is always the case, a bull market always tops when there is maximum greed. And maximum greed is when everybody's longing altcoins, right? Everybody just buying alts. And that happened in 2017 and in 2021. So in 2017, Bitcoin dominance decreased massively. And at some point we reached like the top of the market because that was the point of maximum greed. And then we had the same happen in 2021. Actually, In 2022, also Bitcoin dominance stayed really low, even though prices went down, but Bitcoin dominance stayed rather low. And then ever since 2023 started, Bitcoin dominance has only gone up from like below 40% to now 55% of. So 55% of the crypto market is Bitcoin, which is insane in its own regard. And if you go with Bitcoin and Ethereum, probably it's like 75% of the whole crypto market is Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Right.
And yeah, that shows you how small actually the crypto market is outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Right. So do you think it's the opportunity of a lifetime to get exposure to these assets before they're discovered?
Well, it's hard to find them, to find the ones that have like a lot of upside. It can be a good opportunity, but I would say, just blindly getting exposure in the market won't get you anywhere. And maybe you make a like a 2x or 3x are always possible. But I think, in 2020, I would have been more optimistic that if you spread among the top coins, that you make a good amount of money because all these market caps were just so small. But right now you have like market caps above 10 billion, probably 20 billion, and that's kind of hard. It's difficult for them to increase a lot in price, especially because most of these don't have great products or
Right.
don't have, let's put it differently, don't have products that justify this high market cap, if that makes sense, right? It's
Yeah.
not it's not like in the stock market you have some kind of correlation between I don't know, revenue and the market cap of the stock. But I would say in crypto still you have way more speculation in the price and in the market cap than you have um, cold, hard, fact-based utility in the market cap, if you know what I mean, right?
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Because like I always compare like crypto to like the Formula One stock. So like you can
Okay,
the Formula One is a stock. You can buy the entire company right now for $16 billion.
okay.
So would you rather own Formula One or a chunk of like, you know what I mean? That's why these market caps matter, and that's why you're saying
Yeah,
like high market cap makes no sense when you could go buy a whole company for that.
sure, sure. And I mean, it's even more extreme if you look at some companies, for example, here in Germany, the market caps are way lower than they are for US stocks. So you
Yeah,
can buy like a German company has been around for like 100 years, for like a billion or so.
right. You can I think Nvidia is worth three times the entire German stock market.
Oh yeah, Nvidia is like a $3 trillion market cap.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I don't think the German stock market is like, is it worth a trillion?
Um, I don't. Maybe it's only worth like 400 billion, but
Yeah,
maybe
I
maybe
would
this
say so. Yeah,
yeah maybe the stat is old, but now it's
yeah,
maybe worth five times the whole German stock market. It's crazy.
yeah. Sure, sure.
Just to go on a tangent, do you think the German stock market will ever pick up? I mean, they have Mercedes, BMW, other good stuff. So what's the deal with that?
Yeah, I just looked it up. Actually, it's 2.3 trillion. So
Oh yeah, yeah, all
whole
right.
German stock market. Okay, so it's not
Oh,
it's
oh,
not that
wait,
low. Yeah,
what's the whole German stock market? 2.3 trillion?
2.3 trillion US dollars. Yeah,
Oh, I thought the DAX was like a few hundred billion.
yeah. The DAX, but the DAX doesn't include
Right.
all of them, right? Only the top ones.
Oh, interesting. I guess that's what I saw that Nvidia's worth like
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
DAX.
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
yeah. We have all these old like
companies.
industry 1.0 companies, right?
Right.
we don't really have we don't really have a lot of internet companies. Like we have SAP,
Yeah.
that's also the highest valued German stock,
Wow.
but that's about it, right? A lot of production based stuff.
That just goes to show you though that the all the values in the digital world, right?
Sure, sure.
So then going forward, maybe the space will mature, maybe these higher market cap assets will get bigger and more useful. And
Yeah, I hope so, but I would say just the high market cap alone is not an indicator of whether it will be around for the long run. That's probably what I would say. Right?
yeah,
If there is a team and they are building on a product that's useful and that's also growing over time, right? That has a growing amount of users over time. So I think a great example is the Brave browser. So Brave is a crypto-based product, and ever since it was launched, it has increased in users. And not every single month, obviously, but over time you can see more and more users using the Brave browser. Well, the basic attention token hasn't done much, but at least it's a product that is being used widely and also by non-crypto people. Yeah, that's a good
right,
example, I guess.
right. That's good. So that's a good example of value in the crypto
Yeah,
space.
yeah, yeah.
Undervalued. Yeah. Yeah, no, it looked really interesting. Like circulating supply is equal to the total supply. Yeah, the only problem with that though is it means that the team doesn't have any more capital, right? So they have to maybe they'll issue another token. Like they have to raise unless they have plenty of money, they're gonna have to raise a lot more money to keep operations going. That's why it's a little scary when you see the total supply on the market equal to the total supply.
Well, I would say maybe they found a way to actually generate revenue outside of selling their own token, right? Because that's like a criticism I have with a
Yeah.
lot of crypto companies. Like the only revenue they can generate is selling their own token. And that's not sustainable in the long run because the more they sell, the more the price will go down, the more they have to sell. And some companies in crypto, I think Binance is a good example. They make revenue outside of their token, right? Binance actually uses the money they make to buy back their own token and then burn it. And
Yeah.
not I don't hold BNB at the moment, but I always thought that's like a good approach because they are basically independent of their token and they actually believe in their token that much that they are buying their own token, right? Instead of we're just selling our own token. And yeah,
Yeah, they buy it and burn it, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. Okay. I mean, so now let's talk about like what's really important to people, which is kind of like what is next for this space. Because honestly, every single
Hmm.
altcoin chart looks like it made its pump. We had our meme season,
Yeah.
typical crypto bull market. Now we're being punished, but just like in a typical crypto bull market, the punishment goes for a long time, right? And a lot of these charts look like they made a top all-time high, whatever, big pump. Then they corrected. Now they're making another one, but boom, that got rejected. So now it seems like we're on this slide down. So like, what do you think is next for the space in the short term? I mean, it's impossible to know, but do you think we're into a crypto winter where it's months or the short sell-off?
Yeah, I would say what I like from altcoin charts is they didn't completely retrace the initial pump, right?
Right.
They had an increase and then they reached like a small peak and then they retraced, but they made like I don't know, it's 50% retracement of the initial increase. And now they're trading sideways from this 50% decrease, but they are still trading much higher than where we started from the
Yes.
bear market. And that's what I like
Okay.
because that's like a good base to build on. If they would have had one pump and then just go down and made a new low, that's not bullish at all. But if you manage to build like a higher support base, that's what I really like. And I see that across the market. Many tokens look like that at the moment. And I think they are building up for like the next price increase. Of course, some might have a smaller increase, some might have a bigger increase. Not every coin will make a new all-time high. I think a lot of old coins that have been around for many years, they tend to do like a lower high in macro terms. So they would make like a high that we haven't seen for multiple years, but it's not as high as the 2021 top.
That's how a lot of the older ones are. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't think this is going to be a prolonged winter? I agree. I mean, if it was going to be a prolonged winter, we would have been making a new low. There'd be way more dumping on the market. But this just seems like almost just like a healthy, scary correction that is going to shake people out before it continues. So that's what you'd agree with?
Yeah, it's not Bitcoin at 67K is not a crypto winter, right? That's like a bull market. And I would say I'm not concerned about a crypto winter. I mean, we have an Ethereum ETF coming up in next month or in 2 months, whenever they launch it.
Yeah.
And the Bitcoin ETF has been, I read that it has been the most successful ETF in the history of ETFs.
Yeah.
That's insane, right? That's extremely bullish
Right.
because all these institutions, the Bitcoin ETF was just launched. They were buying Bitcoin like crazy. And of course, there were other people that sold Bitcoin and probably didn't have as much effect on the price as people thought it would.
Right.
But I think the ETFs all around the world, I read that they own over 1 million Bitcoin now, which is basically 5% of all Bitcoin. So 5% of all Bitcoin are now in ETFs, and the ETFs are not even half a year old.
Right.
And that's crazy, right? That's
Yeah.
an incredible amount of demand. And I think we will see that continue. I don't know if they will own 10% of all Bitcoin at the end of the year, but maybe 7%, 8% or so. And then they will also start buying Ethereum.
Right.
And
Unbelievable.
I think that's incredibly bullish. But the market is kind of, I have a feeling that we are not nowhere near the mania that we saw in 2021. Also, not we don't have like the amount of people rushing in. I don't think we have seen retail enter crypto at scale yet in this bull market, which is also a good sign because it means that probably we have way more room to go up. If retail would be all over the place, then it would be kind of scary and probably we should take profits. But I don't see that at the moment.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I think you're right. I think that makes a lot of sense. So Bitcoin has never lost its dominance in this pump, which means altcoins really haven't been discovered. We haven't seen a lot of retail move in. I think what we've seen is a lot of money leave Ethereum and go to like Solana, and then from Solana into the meme coins and maybe
Hmm.
into some of these AI assets. The money's just kind of been moving around. We've gotten a little bit in, but as far as flows into altcoins from the outside world,
Yeah,
no. So that's very exciting. So I agree. And then the fundamentals are incredible with the ETFs. And I mean, JP Morgan is building an Ethereum layer two blockchain.
yeah,
That's huge.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, the infrastructure is being built, and if you compare it to the infrastructure we had 5 years ago, it's so much bigger, right?
Right.
We wouldn't have dreamt of this kind of infrastructure 5 years ago.
Right. No, that's why I think it's an insanely good opportunity to get these sell-offs. Because like again, the world hasn't woken up to it. It's breakthrough technology. So one of the breakthrough technologies I want to ask you about is decentralized computing. You've talked on your Twitter a lot about gamer hash, which I've looked
Mm,
into. Very interesting, right? They have 700,000 people with gaming computers, GPUs. They've managed to harness all that power around the world. What's the most valuable resource now is computing power for AI. So they've harnessed it. They've created economics around it, breakthrough, valuable technology. What do you think of assets like Gamer Hash in terms of decentralized computing? Could that be a huge breakthrough?
yeah, so GamerHash was a project that I have been familiar with for like many years because I participated in the private sale they did in 2020
Mm.
and basically also worked together with the team. So for many years, like really really cool team, really nice guys. Uh, yeah, it came as a bit of a surprise because when the Gamer coin first launched, it went immediately from 1 cent to 1 USD, like immediate 100x at
Mm.
launch, and then it decreased for like 2 years from 1 USD to half a cent or so, right? So
Right.
basically, and then at some point, it was just trading sideways at like below a cent for 1 year, and uh, I kept holding, but it was doubtful if it would come back. But then suddenly you saw all this influx, all these users coming in because of the deep in narrative,
Yep.
and yeah, then There was suddenly a lot of hype, and then it also helped them with the company. I think they made some good new partnerships. They also pivoted to AI, where they said, okay, well, because before GamerHedge was basically using your gaming computer for mining, crypto mining.
Yeah.
And now they've pivoted and they said, well, you can use your gaming computer, the resource in it, to provide resources for AI programs. And it's really an interesting approach. And I think they are probably more advanced or more ahead of other products in the market. I still have some, and I keep on holding because I think that we can probably see higher prices again. Depends a bit on, alt season and the overall narrative if Deepin continues to stay hot. But yeah, that was my best trade of this year so far.
Man, so a lot of altcoins look like Gamer Hash, like where they've, I mean, we're not all pure OGs where we could buy stuff like this at half a cent, but now we're in the situation where a lot of this stuff is still way higher than where it was like a year ago. So do you think at this stage this stuff's getting towards the buy zone generally across the altcoin spectrum?
I think so. I
Okay.
think so. If we're getting so what I expect, first of all, I expect higher prices for Bitcoin in this year. So I think Bitcoin will make new all-time highs. I don't know how high it will go. Maybe 90K, 100K, maybe even 150K. And then I also expect an alt season at some point, especially with the Ethereum ETF. If the Ethereum ETF doesn't lead to an alt season, then I don't know what will lead to an alt season. Because
Right.
that's every time Ethereum does well, also alts are doing well. That was the point in the past.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
And yeah, yeah. And so I think that once the Ethereum ETF launches, I think we will see an alt season at some point around that. More money flowing into Ethereum and also into alts, because basically what could happen could be that the next speculation wave is like, what kind of ETF will be launched next, right? Will we get a Solana ETF? Will we get an XRP ETF? I could see something like that, like a speculative wave happening if the SEC continues to launch new ETFs. Because surprisingly, they launched the Ethereum ETF. Nobody thought it would happen. But
Right.
then all of a sudden, it was just there. They just said, okay, we're launching it. And everybody was surprised. And I think it's not priced in at the moment
No
because,
way. No way.
yeah,
That's why I'm like, okay, so everything's decided to crash. Like we have JP Morgan building on Ethereum, we have the ETF coming out. I don't understand the sell-off, but I'm happy for it actually because it's an opportunity.
yeah, I think it's just the typical sideways chop where, it just goes up and down every single day. And then once you get bored and then you sell it because you say, well, this is not going anywhere, then it starts to increase again, would be my
Exactly.
opinion.
Exactly. So you are bullish decentralized cloud computing, like which is what DPIN and GamerHash provide.
Yeah, to be fair, they already like the whole deepen narrative already pumped a lot. So
Right.
it would have been better to enter before the huge pump, I would say, because now you see basically all of these might still be sitting on a 10x, 20x, 30x. So people like me that bought early. I mean, I only bought GamerHash, not I didn't know about other ones, and I only bought GamerHash because I've been holding it for years, right?
Right.
Know the team and stuff. So I got a bit lucky there. Definitely it was definitely lucky, but yeah, we're still sitting on like a good return.
Yeah.
And if we're selling here, even though after it has decreased 70%, we're still making a good profit. So that's always like the question, when will these early people that got in early and are still sitting on a massive profit, when will they stop selling, or when will the demand be higher than the supply that gets sold? But yeah, generally I would say they are at a better buying point than um, 3 months ago. But they all topped when this NVIDIA conference happened, right? There was this NVIDIA conference, and all of these DeepIn projects participated. and that was the top, the top for all of them.
Right. I know, but we're in that buy zone now, right? So that's what
Yeah.
that I mean, I agree. I mean, yeah, unfortunately, that's the thing. The market isn't always going to give you that deep value like gamer hash of 0.005 necessarily, right? So at this point, you're saying dollar cost averaging here into the sell-offs makes sense as far as from a value perspective.
If it's a good project, yeah.
Okay.
Um, if some of these are just saying, well, okay, we're doing DeepIn now, and 2 years ago they did NFTs, and 2 years before that they did DeFi. So if it's just like a project following the hype, then probably not. But if it's like a legit DeepIn project with also not with a reasonable market cap, then I would say sure, it might be a narrative that continues to be interesting.
Yeah, I love how a lot of these like assets with like multi-billion dollar market caps use gamer hashes computing. Like
Yeah,
like Aether, I think, and some of the other ones.
they
Like
also have a partnership with Golem. Um,
Golem needs gamer hashes computing because gamer hash
yeah,
has a lot of it. So that's huge.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. So let's just end on like Bitcoin because it's very interesting. I don't know if you're into the technicals of Bitcoin, but obviously the miners get rewarded from fees generated. With the
Mhm,
ETFs, there's less fees.
mhm.
Mining is now 1% of the world's electricity supply or something like that, like 0.6%.
Yeah.
And and it's just like, do you see a bright future for it as it gobbles up more electricity? Maybe the fees start to diminish because what happens is like if it's a fixed supply, it's just gonna get hoarded and not used as much. So maybe the fees go down, but also there are all these, there's a huge layer two ecosystem. So what if it becomes an Ethereum killer? There's so much going on with Bitcoin. So what is your thought on kind of the future of Bitcoin?
Um, so Bitcoin has it really, really easy because everybody was just expecting it to be a store of value, and all of this stuff where people said, okay, we have to transact with Bitcoin, and it has to be a layer one, or it has to, other tokens have to be on top of it. All of this stuff is not expected of it. And so
Right,
people expect a lot more stuff of Ethereum than they do
right,
of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just, digital gold, and that's it. And I think the Bitcoin maxis have done like a really good job of selling Bitcoin as a store of value.
yeah.
And original idea of Bitcoin was that you can actually pay with it. I think nobody's doing that. Everybody's just holding their Bitcoin.
No one
So it
ever
has
did.
completely, yeah, yeah, has
Right.
completely pivoted from the original use case. But I can see it. I mean, basically, also some people say Bitcoin is the boomer coin, right? So if our parents are buying crypto, they're probably buying Bitcoin, right? That's
Right.
that's what they know. And also, what I really like is how the mainstream media uh, perspective on Bitcoin has shifted, right?
Yeah. Oh, 100. I know, right? That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
that's the annoying.
crazy.
They 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 scared people away for decades, and
Yeah.
now it's 70K, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's actually a good thing." Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, it's digital gold, and you should get exposure.
It's
And
so annoying.
5 years ago they were like, "Oh my God, this is only used in the dark web, and don't buy it. It's going to zero anyways." And they always had this guy, this the Rubini. I don't know if you know him, who is
Yeah,
like the most vocal critic of Bitcoin.
I know.
And yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and
it's crazy. It's crazy how it has shifted.
right, but and now politicians like Trump is all in on it. Like it's just ridiculous. But that's why being an early stage investor like you makes sense. But
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
fade the
absolutely.
mainstream narrative, right?
Yeah, I mean, also we had El Salvador in 2021 when they started with Bitcoin, and I think even I don't know, some kind of institution also gave a warning about El Salvador. They said, "Oh my God, their financial system will collapse because of Bitcoin," and now it has completely shifted. I don't know. It's crazy, but yeah, I mean, being early, adopting something early can offer really good returns. But you need to be brave for it, right? You need to really believe, you need to have a vision. And I think most people just get scared. Like most people will just read the news and then because it's not only in the news, right? You buy Bitcoin and you put your money in it, and basically everybody you know in your personal life will criticize you for it, right? And, aside from maybe some friends that you have that are also hardcore believers, but people will look at you and they will say, "Well, what you are doing is wrong. You should buy real estate or something like that."
Right.
And you need to stick with your plan then, and believe that what you are doing is the right thing, I would say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think, do you agree that altcoins are in that situation where like, fine, they finally accepted Bitcoin.
Hmm.
Maybe they've accepted Ethereum, but it's not mainstream quite yet. I think right now the mainstream is Bitcoin, Ethereum are the only real cryptos. But
Yeah.
yeah. So now do you think it's the altcoins as the next big kind of shift?
There are quality altcoins for sure. I mean, there are ones that are undervalued, especially in a few months ago it was kind of risky because all of it has had pumped so much. I mean, not every single coin, but some coins had like a 3 to 5x, a seen of 3 to 5x in a few months. So that's always like a risky buying point.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I think there are quality altcoins for sure. And
Thank
that's where but I would say, no matter if bear market or bull market, there are always quality coins that are undervalued. And I like to buy into these if I find them. Some in some way I got attached to some coins because some coins I'm really holding for like a long time,
you.
and they have been, in my opinion, undervalued for like 5 years. But at some point you lose hope that they will increase in price. But I also don't see a reason to sell them because if I still think they are undervalued, and then if the team is doing stuff, then I keep on holding. Yeah,
Yeah.
some of the stuff might not be like a hot new narrative, but it might still be undervalued. I think somehow meme coins have taken the place of
Yeah.
NFTs. Like in
They are.
last what yeah, there was so much speculation on NFTs in the last bull market, and that speculation has kind of shifted to meme coins even more than we had in 2021. So I think meme coins are even bigger now than they are in 2021.
Yeah. Well, they're way easier to use and more liquid. I'd rather own a meme coin than an NFT. But
Yeah, sure, sure. Some
but
NFTs are so illiquid that if you buy a few NFTs on the floor, the price increases like by 2x or 3x immediately. It's crazy.
right. No,
There's just no liquidity. Yeah,
it's a ghost town. Yeah.
it's a ghost town. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, one last question. Chili's.
Sure.
So the head of Chili's came out and he keeps talking about M&A, mergers and acquisitions, tokens
Mm.
consolidating. So do you think Chili's will start gobbling up other assets, other chains?
Um, so yeah, we have seen some M&A recently with three AI protocols. I don't remember which.
Yeah,
What was it? Singularity Net and two
that's it.
others.
Yeah.
Fetch. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah. And also recently from the NFT space, I also saw NFTX and Floor DAO. They also, those are some two projects that provide liquidity for NFTs. They also want to merge. And I'm not sure what Chile is targeting to acquire. Because they cannot really, I would say they cannot really acquire anything from the sports world because they just dominate sports. There's really nothing that provides a lot of value that they could acquire,
Right.
aside from like probably single team fan tokens that they can then convince to move to that chain. But I don't see like another big sports ecosystem that they could merge with, and I don't think they're going to merge with Flow.
Oh,
Mm,
that'd be cool if they did.
yeah, but I don't know,
Like,
the numbers that the new Disney platform. I don't know if it's very successful, but
yeah,
I read that NBA Top Shot has really decreased in sale numbers, and I think they also shut down two marketplaces they had. At least I read that they shut down the marketplace they had for La Liga, like the Spanish soccer league.
yeah.
And I mean, they didn't shut it down, but like they stopped launching new NFTs, and yeah, so activity slowed down significantly. And yeah, they had a program called Chili's Labs where they started to fund projects that want to build on their chain, which I really liked because I think that's really valuable. Like the risk to reward ratio is really good if you pay some builders to build stuff on your chain. Maybe, maybe you build somebody and doesn't build anything at all, but
Yeah.
I think overall you will get some useful decentralized applications.
Yeah.
And but I don't know what they're going to acquire. I think, so personal opinion, I think they will probably acquire something from like the entertainment sector because they always say Chili's is sports and entertainment, but there is really no entertainment at this point. It's only sports.
Oh, okay.
So I could imagine like some kind of entertainment coming to Chili's that they would acquire like a. But I don't really know what entertainment products there are in crypto. I don't know if you know any good ones.
Well, I just think with the amount of capital these crypto companies have, they should be buying like real businesses. Like they could buy a whole
Sure.
magazine or a social network or like they just bring that on chain and actually build it instead of hoping that these big businesses come on chain.
It's a good point. Probably they could do some M&A outside of crypto. That would
Yeah.
be valuable. They bought a 25% or a 20% share on a sub company of FC Barcelona.
Oh, that's
So
you're right. That's pretty cool. Wait, they own 25% of FC Barcelona?
no, not of the but of a sub company of FC Barcelona.
Okay. Yeah.
Like the digital arm of FC Barcelona has like an own is in an own company and they own 20% or so.
Yeah, like if they started just acquiring pieces of sports teams or whatever, that'd be really cool,
Yeah,
obviously.
and I think probably entertainment would be like a sector that they could get into.
The market cap of Theta, you've heard of Theta Network?
Oh, yeah, 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 sure.
Yeah, that's a 1.7 billion. Chili's is 1 billion. So that'd be an amazing partnership. They could,
Okay.
because Theta's very entertainment.
I see, I see. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's interesting how they would do it. Probably they would also like the other mergers, other M&A stuff. Probably
Yeah.
they would also launch a joint token. Then you can exchange chilies for the token and then also the Theta token for the new token.
Yeah, that's what ASI did. And
Yeah,
what's crazy though is if you own one fetch, it becomes one ASI,
yeah.
but the market cap of fetch is 2 billion, but now the market cap of ASI is 7 billion.
Okay.
But you get all the other assets combining. So my point is the market cap of what you own just goes up like crazy.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
It's
You get
like
a better position on CoinMarketCap then.
yeah, it's like diluting your shareholders to buy more assets. So you get more assets, but your shares are worth less.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's for shareholders it's bad. For the company it's great.
I mean, in theory, though, dilution can work if you buy the right stuff, right?
Yeah,
So
sure.
if they actually could pull off decentralized AI. That's their mission, which is actually pretty noble. Because like
Okay.
that's the beauty of crypto. It's like a lot of like there's serious value in it because right now we are feudal. We're in a feudalistic society, right? We have the big tech overlords that own everything that we create. We're not
Yeah.
citizens. We
Yeah.
have no identity. But what crypto does is give power back to people. And
Mm.
so companies are doing that's the power of decentralization, like ownership of like giving you your sovereignty back.
It's like a great point. I think if you look at the probably the most valuable companies in the US, how many of them were existed like 20 years ago?
Right.
Probably half of them didn't.
Yeah. No.
So this also not only the crypto space is moving fast, but also like the stock market, if you will. If you would have told me in like for 20 years ago, like in 2004, when I was buying my NVIDIA graphics card, that it would be like probably the most valuable company on earth at some point, couldn't
Right.
have believed you because it was such a niche back then, right? I was just buying my gaming graphics card. Nobody cared about gaming, and
Right.
yeah, so it's crazy how it moves sometimes.
Exactly. But value is moving to the digital world. Nothing's more
Yeah,
digital.
yeah.
Nothing's more digital than crypto. It is digital value. So just watch, right? As the space just becomes massive. Like for instance, the owner of the LA Dodgers is leading a bid for TikTok to buy
Okay.
TikTok. in America. He wants to tokenize, he wants that to run on top of Polkadot to give people back ownership in their digital data and value. That would be
Okay.
just so massive, right, for Polkadot if that happened.
Sure, yeah.
Like,
But how expensive is TikTok?
oh, well, they're gonna, he would like get a group of people, you know,
Okay, okay.
but yeah, probably like 50 billion or something,
50 billion.
maybe more.
Yeah, I remember Elon paid like 50 billion for X, right? Or was it
Right.
40 billion? Something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like that is like the future. I think once something like that happens, the whole space just like goes crazy because
Sure, yeah.
now we have a killer app on the blockchain. So
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of blockchains, and many of them don't have a lot of users.
right.
And yeah, I think probably in the long run, the ones that shine will be the ones that have actually valuable apps, right?
I know, but see that's what's hard because you're a deep value investor, but you probably refuse to buy Solana or Ethereum here, but they have all the users, right?
Sure, sure, yeah. But yeah, I try to like what I always try to do is look into the future and see like what kind of ecosystem could have that amount of users in the future, right?
Right.
And sometimes I'm successful with that, and most of the times I'm not. But
That's the hard
but
part.
yeah,
But I mean, you could look at stuff like Low and ICP and Chili's. There's users, like
sure.
yeah, it's Hedera Hashgraph has users. They have big communities. ICP has big communities. Like they just had 2.5 million
Mhm.
people create a digital ID with ICP. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, sure. I mean, well, I always so what I always look for as like a very small cap investor
Yeah.
is I look at these protocols that have a very small amount of users and I say, well, can they probably go from like a very small amount of users to a small amount of users? And then because it's like a small cap, you don't need that many people coming in to raise the price. So I'm only looking at my own profit. Like I'm not looking for the greater good for like the people that will have like a better life experience with social media because something moves to like a blockchain. But yeah, I'm looking at that mostly because I always think that's easier than to go. It's easier to go from 1,000 users to 10,000 users than it is from like 2 million to 4 million, I would say.
No,
But
that is so wise, and it's exactly what you
yeah,
do. And it's like why like Ethereum's gonna need a billion people on it to 10x.
yeah,
Well,
sure.
a tiny market cap asset will need like a million people to 10x. So
Yeah, or much less.
yeah, right. For your stuff you're looking at much. That's really cool. Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But the low market cap stuff is also really it's mostly Wild West, right? So
yeah.
it's mostly 1 to 2 man teams and they can disappear any minute. And yeah, so it's the Chainlink team won't disappear tomorrow. But
No.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you've heard about everything going on with them, but it's crazy. Like they're just going to token up like the DTCC, Euroclear, the places that process quadrillions of dollars of data are going to tokenize all that the stocks, bonds, real estate of the world and use Chainlink as the data feed. It's
Hmm.
crazy, crazy. So
Yeah, they have been really active. I mean,
yeah,
Chainlink was also, I saw Chainlink for the first time in 2018 when it outperformed everything during the bear market, right? When it was the only one that actually went up in 2018 when everything crashed down. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's really interesting for sure.
yeah.
Anyway, well, thank you so much. Where can people go to learn more about sports finance, the website for Rocket Fan, and just stay on top of your updates?
I'm most active on X and I'm at Chris Ott there. And then also rocketfan.com is my website.